And I think it kicked me out.
Let me go to your page.
Okay. And so maybe we're live right now. I don't know it.
Well, my screen is saying live on Facebook, so
Oh, there we go. I see it. Oh my gosh, how funny. So who's ever watching? Yes, we're doing something new tonight. Excuse me. Oh, I'm getting choked up, getting something new going here. We are zooming in from Zoom this evening. So if you heard all our background chatter, that was what that was all about. It's always fun to try new technology, right, Linda?
yes, it is.
It's like, are
Early
we live?
adopters
I
and
don't think we're live.
innovators.
I think I messed it up.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Amy Charland with Linda Williams, and we are going to be having such a great discussion this evening about how Linda went from a soul crushing job to becoming a rock star entrepreneur here on The Great Escape. Let me do just a quick introduction. My name is Amy Charland, and I am the owner and founder of Lights On Again Coaching, where we help women escape those soul crushing jobs and get on a new career path, which may be starting a whole new career or starting a business or putting an idea into place that they've always dreamed of doing. So I love helping women to really reach for the stars and then grab those stars and just run with it. And what I'm really excited about with this evening is having Linda here with us, who literally handed in her resignation effective immediately and walked out the door because she knew she was worth it. And anything else you want to start us off here with, Linda, about just a quick bio, perhaps?
Um, my background is in education, instructional design, and that's the role that I was in when I submitted my resignation with 30 minutes notice. And as we go through the conversation, I'll probably tell you a little bit more about why I did it in such a short way. But I just knew that I was worth more. And when I looked at my pay stub or whatever that was, it just didn't, it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me to see that and know within myself that I was worth so much more and to still be comfortable in that. So I began to feel uncomfortable. And typically, when we start feeling uncomfortable, we know the next thing is transition. It's kind of like I liken it unto having a baby. At some point, the mother and the baby becomes uncomfortable. The baby becomes uncomfortable in the womb, and he or she has to make their transition into the world. And so, whenever we start feeling uncomfortable in situations, I know for myself, it is time for me to make a transition. So it was uncomfortable for me
Mm.
at that point. But my bio is on all of my web pages, and um, I pretty much just like to talk to people, and then it comes out as it comes out.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. And as you were saying, the womb there, I was reading a book not too long ago. The title was something along the lines of birthing an elephant when it comes to starting a business. And I
Mhm.
imagine it feels like that for many new entrepreneurs. You're trying to birth the elephant. It just seems so big and overwhelming. But I'm sure we'll come back to that. What I'd like to do right now, Linda, is just I like to always say, go back in the time machine for a moment
Okay.
and go back to that soul crushing job. So, what was it about that job that really didn't feel right for you? You mentioned you just saw that paycheck and you knew you were worth so much more. I'm just wondering what else about that situation just didn't sit right with you and really helped to push you out the door.
Well, I think it was. I think it was an amalgamation of things. Number one, it was feeling as though I was working within a culture that supported the you're only as good as your last game. mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're constantly trying to prove yourself in every project, in every game. And there was no appreciation for those contributions, or the appreciation was very limited. Okay, you did good in this game. Let's, we're starting over again. So there was that culture. And then there was, just, I enjoyed the work. I enjoyed it because it allowed me to be creative, which is what I love doing. It allowed me to explore lots of different things, and to um, talk to a lot of different people. As an instructional designer, I understand how people learn. I understand the best ways to present information to ensure that it's received, retained, and recalled when it's needed. But that doesn't make me an expert. So I would interact with subject matter experts to, do that part of it. So the work I enjoyed, but the job, um, I did not, I no longer liked that. And there were a number of elements, the politics, the culture, um, and understanding my value, that that this was not what I was worth. And I think the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back was, um, I worked remotely. I worked from my home. I had an office in my home, and I never had to go into the office unless there was a meeting or something. And one day I would walk out of my suite, my master suite, and I would walk into my office. And it wasn't even a work day. This was like a weekend. And I remember feeling so much anxiety and stress, and all at the same time, as I passed a part of my own home that's really supposed to be, my safe spot, my sanctuary. I mean, I pay a mortgage. And when I felt that, I knew it was time. And so, um, as a woman of faith, I simply said, God, I'm getting ready to stretch out on you now. And I sat, when I went back to work. I worked that entire day, and then um, I guess it must have been about 4:30. I sent my boss an email. I attached the files of every project that I was working on, and I said, effective immediately, I am tendering my resignation. Please let me know how to return your equipment. I closed the computer, I turned it off, closed, I shut down everything, and I never looked back. I felt like this tremendous weight had been lifted off of me. Now, did I know what my next move was going to be? Not particularly. I just knew that it was going to be something that had that paid me, not just in terms of finances, but just in terms of emotional support. Um, it was gonna be worth the investment that I was gonna be making into it, and that was it. That was
Yeah.
it. And my business, I didn't start my business that day. At that moment, the funny thing about my business is my business actually started June 19th of 2015, and my business started as a way to connect my family, um, because we were here in St. Louis. My family was all over the country, and my daughter was having a baby. She was just going to have a baby, and I wanted to give her a virtual shower. So because of the manner in which I was doing the shower and a lot of the innovation that I was using for it, I created a business name, In Person Away Virtual Events, to protect my concept. But that was not something that was really in the making at the time.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff here, Linda. I want to take a moment to just highlight something because it's becoming a theme as I do more of these interviews. Is that a lot of women that I've been talking to, it's not the work itself that
Exactly.
has us leaving and going out and doing our own thing. It's the culture, it's the environment, it's a supervisor that treats us poorly or undermines us. It's not the work itself, which I find
Exactly.
fascinating. And another point you brought up that I think is so important. I'm seeing this as a theme as well, is we may not necessarily know that next step. It comes from our own experiences. We don't just make it up. Business
Exactly.
just doesn't land on your head and it's like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. It comes from the experiences, and you're seeing something in the marketplace that says, ooh, there's an opening here. And you are just so good at doing that. So you had started off with your in-person away virtual events, which you were talking
Right.
about. And I'm wondering if you want to share a little bit about this newest venture, which I think is fascinating and such a good example of you saw an opening in the marketplace
Yeah.
and you went after it with it. So I'll let you explain what you've done recently. I think it's just fascinating.
Well, it's a pivot, and you hear that word a lot in business. But of course, when the pandemic arrived and businesses were closing, there were not a lot of social events occurring. People weren't really traveling. There wasn't an opportunity for people to want to go to weddings and other celebrations or even funerals for that matter. Um, people were staying home, which meant that because my initial business used robots to get people to those various events and celebrations and to have them navigate the robot from wherever they were and enjoy the party. Well, when the parties were gone, there was really not necessarily a need for that. So I had to do a pivot. Um, what I learned as I, did my research and I watched just what was going on in the media is that people were looking for a way to feel safe. They were looking for, how am I going to know whether or not this person has it or that person has it? They're not wearing a mask, they are wearing a mask. And so we came up with Tracy, and Tracy is a temperature regulated access controlled entry system. And it uses biometrics and artificial intelligence to check temperatures. And in addition to checking the temperatures, it also allows you to create a database so that you can have information on who was in your facility on a certain day at a certain time. If somewhere down the road they become exposed or something happens, it gave you a an option or a method for contact tracing. And so the other thing was it was authentic. In other words, if a person came up with a picture or if they come up with a video and they said, well, I'm not feeling well, but I need to go to work because I need this money. Um, because it's biometric, it recognizes that you're not a human and it tells you this is a non-living body. And so it won't even register you. And then it gives so many options to the, we customize it based on the needs of the organization. So we would basically, if it were a school, we do one configuration. If they were doing it for a grocery store, we would do another configuration. If it were for, let's say, a medical office, there is the American Medical Association as well as the American Dental Association. They have 14 questions that are required to be answered by their patients before they can be seen. And if they answer yes to any of them, it shuts down. So we've created an app that you don't have to have people, actually doing that. All of that can be done through technology. And so that was the pivot. And it also dispenses hand sanitizer too at the same time. And the entire experience is contactless. So nobody's touching you, you're touching nobody. Once it gives a good temperature reading, then whatever method of access the company or the organization chooses is activated, and that person is granted access or granted entry. Otherwise, it does not allow them to enter. And so that gives people a feeling that, okay, at least I know coming into this place, nobody has a temperature, that's one thing. So that's one of the symptoms of, as we know, of COVID, and the CDC has identified a range. So we program the system to recognize that. So that's what we do. It's safe biometric systems, and we use Tracy to help us make sure people are safe, feel safe.
Absolutely. I love that. I loved how so quickly you were able to pull that together. And it's such needed technology, and just to be able to just pivot like that, I just find absolutely fascinating. I am curious here. When you think about what it takes to pivot like that, because that's going to be necessary today, tomorrow, years to come, to have that skill. I'm wondering, how did you develop that skill? What does it take to be able to shift like that?
It takes three things. It takes not having the ability to turn around. In other words, there's a story in the Bible when the children of Israel had been released from their captivity. There were two options for them to take to get to the promised land, and the one of the routes was shorter, and God didn't want them to take that route, because he said, if they take that route and on that route they realize that they're going to have to fight, I don't want them to change their mind and go back. And the other route, of course, that's where they ran into the Red Sea experience. And so it couldn't fail. I could not, I had to find something to do. So that was what I dedicated myself to doing, looking for opportunities. And there was a recurring theme with these temperatures. And I kept seeing people using handheld devices, and I kept, seeing people write, and the more I processed this information, I said, there has to be a better way to do this. And I found it. And so that was the first thing. I did not provide myself an opportunity to turn around. I couldn't quit. It had to work. I had to find something. The second thing was I deleted my ego. I was not, saying, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do this. If I needed to learn something, I learned it. I'm a lifelong learner. If I needed to talk to someone, I found a way to do that. And then the last thing was, I basically became resourceful. I dedicated myself. I recognized what I knew and what I didn't know. I recognized what I had enough time to learn and what I didn't have enough time to learn. And I remember a phrase by Sir Richard Branson. He says, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity, he said, say yes, and then figure out how to do it later. And so I became resourceful. I found people where I was weak. I found people who were strong in those areas. And I worked with really great programmers. I'm a certified software developer, but there's some things I didn't know. So I didn't let the fact that I'm a certified software developer stop me and say, oh, Linda, you should be able to do this. No, I found somebody who could do it for me. And so, yeah, those are the things that allowed me to pivot quickly. You can't give yourself an opportunity to turn around. When I started my first business, somebody said something about, well, what if it fails? I said, it can't fail. It won't fail. I don't have that. That's not a choice for me. That's not one of the, it's going to either excel, explode, but it's moving forward. It's in no way going backwards. And that's the mindset you have to have.
Oh, most definitely. And I don't remember where this comes from. The idea of just burn the ships. There's no going back. We're going to just go forward and conquer. Yeah, we got to burn the ships because there is no other option than moving forward and being successful. Absolutely. I love
Exactly.
that. And, something else I heard you say in there was this idea of just being observant, just
Yes.
noticing what is happening around you. And that's where some opportunities might start to show up. And then also asking for help and seeking
Yeah.
out people who know what to do, what you don't know what to do, but you can see the bigger vision. So you really, as an entrepreneur, have the big vision, and then you find people to help you put that
Exactly.
into place. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I
Exactly.
love it. And, I'm just curious, as we're playing around with Zoom here, and I do have Facebook up. If anyone's watching, maybe they can type in a question or two. Would that be okay with you?
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Okay, fabulous. Let's try that. Let's just see how that works. And I think I have to pull up Facebook here and take a look to see what is going on. And we've got several people watching, except
Oh,
we're a
okay.
little time delayed. So if you're hearing this, type in the comments, because I can see the comments here on Facebook. Type those in. So if you have a question for Linda, let's see if we can get some dialogue going here, because Linda has so much amazing information to share with you if you're interested in entrepreneurship and you're thinking about an idea, or maybe you've started to implement it. Yeah, let's see what questions come in here. And while we're waiting, Linda, I love to hear maybe a nugget or two of advice you would give someone who is just starting out, just starting on that road to entrepreneurship.
Um, Recognize that there are going to be some L's. And before I even explain that, to those who are tuned in, type in the chat along with your questions or what have you. What do you think I mean when I say that? What do you think I mean when I say there are going to be some L's when you start your own business? And Amy, you can just let me know if anybody puts any responses.
Okay, yeah, and I
Uh,
know that we've got that time delay of,
yeah,
I
the
think, a
time
minute
delay.
or so, so we may see things come in here in a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll come back to that. What other maybe little nugget would you like to share?
This one is, I think, so very important. And I'm encouraging whether you want to leave your job or not, do a self valuation. And notice I said valuation and not evaluation. Determine what qualities, what characteristics, what knowledge, what experiences, tangible and intangible, you have, and assign a value to them. Um, you know, when you talk about evaluation, you're talking about worth. What are you worth? But when you talk about an evaluation, you're talking about work. We're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about what are you worth as you see it. Now, in the financial arena, there's a whole formula, but we're not using the formula. We're just looking at our experiences, uh, what our education, whatever it is that you have, write it down and put a value, put a number to it. And when you compare that number to whatever your last increase was or whatever your current salary is, and that if that number from your valuation is more than what you got on that last evaluation, start planning your exit. Start
Hmm.
your exit strategy. Because what's going to be on that list, what you will find is your purpose. When you start looking at that list and writing down and assigning numbers, it's going to be all the things that you love, all the things that you enjoy, all the things that make you happy. For me, it's making a difference in the lives of others. For me, it's seeing other people walk away, with more than they had when they encountered me. And what you'll find within that list is going to be your purpose. And when you find your purpose, ask yourself this question: who will pay me for my purpose? Mm. Who will pay me for my purpose? And then go find them. Go find the people that will pay you for your purpose. Now, I know that may sound strange. It may sound crazy, but let me give you an example of exactly how that happened. If you go back and you think, yeah, I'm also a minister, and so I make a lot of references to my faith, because it takes a lot of that too. Mm-hmm. But if you go back and you look in the second chapter of Exodus, and you see what they were doing, they were killing, the babies that were a certain age, male babies at a certain age. And Moses' mother took him and put him in a boat, a little device, I'll call it. And she sent him down the road. We know the story. Pharaoh's daughter found him there in the river. And then his sister said, do you want me to go find you a Hebrew woman who can, feed the baby for you? And of course she said yes. So the mother, who was trying to protect her baby and didn't know that she would ever see him again, put her baby away, and was then summoned by the princess to take the baby back and be its, wet nurse or mother until it reached a certain age. That was her purpose. The princess didn't have any milk flowing from her. The milk was from the mother. And so then she also paid her to take care of her own child. So when you find your purpose, there is someone who will pay you for it. You just have to find them. And you got to take advantage of every opportunity. Don't ever feel like, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's not going to work. Try it and see. Try it and see.
I love that. I love that. I'm just going to check again here, see if we have any comments, because we want to come back to the L's. And I'm not seeing any comments come in or any questions. So we'll just keep rolling along here. Yes. So I'm curious. So thank you for the purpose. I mean, that blew me away. Just that idea that you have this purpose and you just need to find the person who's going to pay you for it. I love that.
That's right. That's right. Someone will pay you for your purpose. But with regard to the L's, I want to make sure I finish that, whether or not they asked the question or not. But initially, when I asked that question, people say, "Oh, well, you're gonna have some losses. You're gonna have some losses in business as an entrepreneur." That's true, but it depends on you. You can have a loss, or you can have a lesson. And there's a distinct difference. You can take the loss and go away and lick your wounds, or you can look at what happened that didn't necessarily go the way you anticipated, figure out why, and do better. You can use that as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to improve. I was guilty of that. I was guilty of, in the beginning thinking everything was, that was just a loss. It was just a loss. And I had to learn that. No, it's how you look at it. It's all about perspective. It's all about how you choose. If you choose to look at it as a loss, that's exactly what it is. But if you choose to look at it as an opportunity to learn and to improve and to grow, then that's exactly what it is too.
I love that. I love that. That is so important. Similar to that concept of failing forward, and there's really no such thing as failure. It's all learning is what it is, because we learn from those failures. And if we don't fail, we'll never learn anything, and then we'll never have that success. So on the road to success are lots of failures. That's just part of how it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right. And I see here, oh my gosh, this has gone by so quickly. And that 30 minutes has gone by so
Mhm.
quickly here. Thank you so much, Linda. And I
Thank you
think
for having me.
you are so welcome. And I think you've got maybe a little gift or something here to share with the audience.
Yes, those who are um, tuned in, listening, or what have you, there is a class that I do that's called Write the Vision. And the end result of that class is a digital vision board. And I am, for everybody, anybody who's interested, I am going to give them a 30-minute session to lay the groundwork for writing their vision, for getting their plan together.
Mm.
So if they send me an email or if they put their information in the chat here, I will send them the, PM them or do Facebook Messenger, what have you, the information, the document. And if they want the 30-minute session, it's free of charge. Normally it's a $99 um, um, you know, promotion, but for this, I'm just going to offer that to anybody who's interested. And the class itself is $199. So, but this is just a free offer, 30 minutes, the template, just to kind of start laying out your vision. Because what I have observed is that people when they do vision boards, you do the cutting and the papers and all of that, and you put it on the,
Mm.
but you know, it's a story. Your vision board is really a story. It's not just a series of things that you want. So you have to um, write your story. That's what you're really writing. You're writing your story. And one of the things that people who are in the film industry do is, they always start with the end. They will tape the last scene of a movie before they ever tape the first one. There was a point in my life where I did videos and storyboards and all that kind of stuff and scripts. So I know if you're going to have a successful vision board, you have to write the story first and then you put the pictures in. So that's what I
Oh,
help people do.
I love that. I love that because I can tell you from my own experience, I was looking through all these, this is several years ago, looking through all those magazines, just pulling pictures, and then I had it done. I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, well, that's pretty.
It
And
has to
then
have.
I got in the closet and that was it.
Right. And then the digital component, the digital component, you might put it on a poster board and look at it when you're at home or in your office, but if you make it digital, I look at mine every night. I even have audio affirmations built into mine that play even in my subconscious. Sometimes when I go to sleep, I put it on and I just let it roll and roll and roll. So there has to be for lack of a better term, a method to the madness, and it has to be a continuous thing. You have to continuously feed yourself your story because it's your story.
Yes, I love that. I love that. It has to be a story. You just can't throw pictures on
Yes.
up. It's got to have a storyline and you've got to look at it every day. I love that. It's such great tidbits there from you, Linda. Thank you so much for being here. It is a pleasure. And thank you so much for allowing me to try some different technology and try this out. And hopefully everything looks okay on Facebook. I'll go back and look and see how
We
things
both
are
will.
looking. Yeah, it's like, because I think I may have clicked on something that paused something. So I'll go back and see what I did. But thank you so much for being here. It's just been a pleasure. And speaking of stories, you are an amazing storyteller. I was just so engrossed in everything you were saying. I forgot to
Oh,
ask them my questions. It's like, oh, this is such good information. And for
wonderful.
those of you still listening, there is so much more to come this week. So if you like my page, you'll be able to be the first to see what is coming up each day this week and what's coming up next week. What new content do I have? What new speakers and guests do I have? So if you like this page, you will be the if you like this page, you will be the Thank you again, Linda. Any last thoughts or comments as we wrap up this evening?
No, just go forth and excel. Don't even let just think positive. You're not going, you can't fail. You're just going to learn.
I love it. Words to but 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 words to live by. But 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 words to live by, words to live by. All right. Well, thank you so much, Linda. And thank you so much, everyone that joined us this evening. Great